Most elements have been completed. There are a couple of new elements of the next gen 911 system that have just gone into effect in the past month. And ECC staff are here to brief you, and they can walk you through a PowerPoint. I just wanted to point council or committee members' attention to a couple of things: ongoing staffing challenges, the mental health triage component, which is listed as the last item and might be more appropriate for an expansive conversation with the joint HHS and Public Safety Committee.
Ms. Frog, you are fading in and out when you're speaking. So
okay. Yes, I'm having microphone issues anyway. So I'm just going to switch it over to Cass so that she can go through the PowerPoint at this point, and we can update with any questions after that.
Okay. Ms. Onley.
Good morning.
Good morning. There you go. On my screen, I saw you, but I couldn't see you speaking. So anyhow, good morning. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning. Okay, is someone going to display the PowerPoint, or is that going to be me?
Either way, I can do it if you'd like.
Yes, if you would,
Okay.
please.
Let me find it.
There we go. Okay. Next slide. So as Ms. Farag said, oh, we'll wait till the next slide gets there.
Is it not updating?
Not for me.
No, it is for me.
It's not, the only slide that we have is the first slide that we're seeing.
No, I'm scrolling through. I don't know. Cass, can you try to share if it's not working for me?
Yeah,
Oh, it's going to be one of those mornings.
that's okay.
What the-
It is because using two computers, but that's all right. All right, you want to stop sharing and then I'll take it?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
If we can't get this to work, it is in the staff report as well as an attachment.
Right. No,
I got it. Can you? No, I don't see it.
so because of that, that means it'll work. You realize that because you said that. Yeah.
All right, let's try this. All right.
It's working.
All
Good.
right. Very good. All right. So next generation 911 update. So we updated our CPE, our customer premise equipment. That was updated in May. We needed to apply an update to that phone system in August, which was applied. So we were able to transition to AT&T, EZNet, Next Gen. Actually last month, September 23rd was voice, and then text to 911 was transitioned on that following Monday, September 27th. As far as video and pictures, currently there are no national or state industry standards. So before we start accepting that, we want to make sure that we get it right. So we need to make sure that there's policies in place, but we're continuing to work with our industry leaders to see, one, how they're going to do it, but two, what effects it's going to have on the workers that are actually receiving that information. So that's where we are with that.
So at this point, so I understand what you're saying. At this point, we are not accepting video or pictures?
That's correct. We are not.
And no idea when that might happen?
At this point, no, sir, because like I said, there's no state or national standards, and we would like to be able to follow those standards in addition to what impact it's going to have. So it could have an impact on MPIA request, an impact on staffing. How are we going to get that information to the public responders as well?
Okay. Are there any places now that are receiving this type of data? No place in America?
To my knowledge, no, sir.
Okay.
Not right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, for cyber security initiatives, this is where our technology and enterprise business solutions and the Office of Enterprise Information Security are responsible for the cybersecurity initiatives for our public safety systems. They do have systems in place that are able to look at all of our systems. And I don't want to delve too much further into that because Tebs may be able to speak to specific things that you may have interest in. As far as personnel, we do have our personnel complete the monthly mandatory security awareness trainings. And as you all know, we all complete those and the exercises that they also do periodically with staff. All right, so going into our information on staffing and the civilianization. So in March of 2020, that's where all of our 911 specialists are certified and qualified to answer all 911 and non-emergency calls for police, fire, and ambulance. We did start fire rescue dispatch training in 2016. However, we did suspend that so we could concentrate on the call taking portion. However, recently we did start that initiative again. We did complete a fire dispatch class in August of this year, and we currently have another fire dispatch class in session, and we're hopeful that we'll have some staff that are fully functional to operate in the fire dispatch realm within the next several months. And we're evaluating the timelines for fire dispatch classes through calendar year of 2024. All right, so for staffing, our current complement is 183. Currently, we have 22 vacancies, 21 being the actual specialists, the staff that actually do the job, the 911 job, and then 1 quality assurance improvement specialist. So we have both of those advertised, and we are receiving applications for those. So we'll continue to streamline. So our next new hire class for the specialist is in March. So we're hoping to have a huge class so we can knock down some of those vacancies. For attrition, those numbers are not indicative to COVID. This was prior to COVID, where we have staff, at least 16 folks that are able to retire in the next 1 to 5 years. What we have implemented is a succession planning work group. So 1, we could also have better qualified internal candidates as well as other applicants that may be outside the agency or county that apply for those positions. So we are working through those different areas. Our mandatory hours have gone down this last month, and it's been all over the place this last year due to COVID and people resigning. So where we need to be next gen and be able to take the additional workload, we need 43 additional positions, and that includes specialist, the actual 911 specialist, program specialist, administrative specialist, and that would incorporate our quality improvement and assurance area and our instructors, let alone technology specialists, because we need to make sure that 1, the systems are operational, 2, that the GIS data is updated within 72 hours, and then as the additional layers of next gen come into play with the Z access, that's going to actually present more challenges but opportunities for us to succeed, and also additional management members to oversee the vast staff that we're going to have. We did onboard our social worker specifically for ECC in March of 2021. Thanks to retired Director Bill Ferretti. He was an advocate for this, and we were able to hire somebody well qualified, and this person focuses on employee wellness, and she has already contributed a lot to our staff for their mental well-being, for the incidents that we have encountered in the county, let alone our personal lives, to be able to maintain that life balance between life and work. So she is dedicated just for our staff. Her purpose is not here to triage calls or anything like that, that she is specifically here for us to maintain that we have our mindset in the place that it needs to be, so we can help the public and the public responders when they're responding to those incidents. All right, the mental health triage, as Ms. Farag already said, we are in partnership with DHHS on working through the types of incidents that can be referred to DHHS, and we're continuing to work on strategies in which we can refer those incidents and or partnership on have a dual response if it requires one. So it's a very complex issue, as everyone is aware, and we are continuing to work on that so we can provide the best service for our county public. And that is it.
Well, first off, Ms. Unley, let me just thank you very, very much for your service, and everyone who is doing the work each and every day that we all sort of take for granted. We shouldn't, but we do. And thank you for doing all that. On the slide, I think it was number 8, the one just before this one, you say that we need 43 positions. Is that 43 positions total? Is that 43 additional positions? What does that mean?
It's 43 total. So additional 911 specialists to be able to take the calls and dispatch the calls. But in addition, we have to expand our quality improvement program, because we are Montgomery County, we are TRI accredited. What that means is for each police, fire, ambulance protocols that we utilize, we meet the benchmarks according to the International Academy of Emergency Dispatch. So we need to make sure that we're handling all the calls appropriately. So that needs to grow in addition to our administrative specialists, our trainers. So we need to expand that and our technology. So it's total 43 positions, but not just 911 specialists. It incorporates all the other folks that are behind the scenes doing the work too.
Got it. And could you please explain how with enhanced 911, with the next generation 911, that someone can actually pinpoint a precise location? How does that work?
Right. So it also depends on their device. So typically cell phones, folks update their phones every 2 years, and that's the technology that we're in. So we all see the commercials about 5G. So that's important that one, you have an updated device, but two, it's based upon the location of the device. So it'll get the GPS data from your cell phone, and that's where it's pinpointing that information. And as we get into the Z axis, and that's where the nationwide wireless carriers by 2025 will have to be in compliance. So the PSAPs, the 911 centers, are able to receive the specific floor, suite, or what have you, where they are. So it's really based upon the GPS.
Okay. And you're saying that we need the new employees training, et cetera. How long is a class for a new employee training? When can they once they're hired, when can they start sitting in the desk near you?
Right. So We have our training program is a year-long training program, and they're divided into different phases. Our first phase, which we teach, is our call take. So the classroom training is 12 weeks. We've expanded that this year because the technology is ever changing and evolving, and the different technologies that we have to utilize for the mapping system. So we did expand our training program. So after 12 weeks, then they go on the job training with their qualified communications training officer, and they start to process calls and take calls.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And Ms. Frog, did you have anything else before we turn to the other committee members? Or is there any other presentations?
There's a couple of other issues like the civilianization of the fire dispatch personnel. I didn't know if you wanted to get a status update on that. And then, like I said before, Dr. Santiago and Ms. Hill are here if you want the mental health triage update.
Okay. Well, why don't we do both? And as you say, we should have a joint Health and Human Services Public Safety Committee with Dr. Santiago is going to touch on with us, but we certainly should hear from him today. And the first question was the civilianization of this. Yes.
Right. Go ahead, Susan.
Oh, I just said, yes, that's like the one outstanding piece of the consolidation that has not been performed yet. It got put on hold because they had other, needs for the limited resources that they had. So it's my understanding they've started that back up again.
Correct. And as we realigned the job series back in 2013, that's where the second dispatch is voluntary. And we have at least 72 folks that are interested in progressing with that second dispatch skill. So that's where we're in the process now. You can't have a huge class because we're limited in the amount of radio talk groups that we can train on. But in addition to, we have fire rescue staff that are still here that need to maintain their skills. So it does take some balancing in addition to the new hire call taking classes that we have. So it's the resource allocation of the training rooms, the training staff, those that are doing the on-the-job training, and the exposure time. So there's a lot of different things that Chief Radcliffe and I are balancing out. However, with the timeframes that we have, the guidelines and everything in place, we're looking at a 2024.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Santiago, please. Santiago.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Cass's last slide pretty much updated us where we're at with respect to the development of the triage and dispatch protocol. We have also jointly with Cass's staff and I think Fire and Rescue, we have applied for a grant for additional training, a BJAG grant. And I don't think we've heard yet whether we have gotten it, but I know maybe between Dornay and Cass, they could report on what we expect that training to be. Dornay Hill is our new administrator. She was just hired. We took the acting out of her position. She's now the administrator for trauma, intake, and crisis services.
Good morning,
Well,
everybody.
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're no longer an actor. There you
Right,
go.
right. Thank you. So we joined together to try and there's a specialized crisis intervention training for dispatchers through Crisis International. So we applied for a grant to train up our new and oncoming, not just emergency command center dispatchers, but also for the crisis center clinicians that answer our hotline as well, to try and really have some standardized training on addressing mental health callers and knowing the signs and symptoms and having some key language. So that is our goal.
Very good. Thank you.
Sure.
Dr. Santiago, anything else?
At this point, I'll just restate what Cass said in her slide, that we do have a work group that has been meeting since last December. Actually, this week we meet again, or maybe it's next week, I believe. And typically what we do is we strategize, we update. It's like an advisory group on the implementation. It includes all stakeholders, the Emergency Communications Center, and also the National Suicide Hotline personnel, the Crisis Center personnel, 311 personnel. And at this point, where we're at is that we have a contract with the Whitebird Clinic, which runs a CAHOOTS program in Eugene, Oregon. And they are contacting each of these centers, and they will propose to us what that triage and dispatch protocol. Basically, it's a protocol where each of these call centers are on the same page with respect to a behavioral health. If there is a call that comes in for a behavioral health crisis, and we're looking forward to that. And then once it's proposed, we will discuss. We will gain approval. We will make sure that the heads of the departments are fine with it, and we will launch it. So we're excited about that development.
Thank you. Anything else before I turn back to Ms. Farag, or? We're good? Okay. Susan, anything else before I turn to my committee members?
Now, the only outstanding question I had was what were the potential implications for data storage once they start accepting photos and video and that type of thing, but it seems like it's so far out, it's not any immediate concern at this point. So we can look at that as we move into a full CIP session this year too.
Are we in agreement? Okay. Very good. Thank you all. And with that, I'm going to turn to Vice President Albornoz, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, want to associate myself with your comments acknowledging the really great work of our 911 call center team. As we've been briefed over the last 2 years, both the volume and the depth of calls that have come in are unprecedented and complicated and difficult and overwhelming. And I've heard really great things about the social worker who's been assigned to the team and has really addressed some issues in real time for, of course, what has to be tremendously difficult information and situations to process. And I do think we should be looking at that model in other areas of county government as well, as a possibility, just sidebar, because we're feeling a lot of burnout and a lot of stress in so many front-facing departments, particularly those that are addressing the needs of our most vulnerable populations. So something I would like to put a pin in and come back to at some point. If you can make a note of that, I'd appreciate it, Ms. Farag. I did also want to talk about, and you're absolutely right, Mr. Chairman, there are 2 joint committee sessions coming up. There's one on October 25th to discuss community policing, and I believe the second one is on November 1st. Yes. To discuss emergency room capacity and mental health beds, because we know we've had an ongoing challenge with code yellows appearing much more frequently. Code yellow is when our 6 local hospitals no longer have an emergency room bed available, and so in some instances, ambulances literally have to wait in parking lots. Not for life or death situations. They're taken obviously when there is that occurrence, but when it's not exactly life or death, they literally have to wait in the parking lot until a bed is opened up. And there's a lot of reasons for that, staffing issues, personnel issues, but as we've come to learn, a lot of it has to deal with an increase in social and emotional issues, behavioral health issues in the community. I would like to suggest that we explore adding to that discussion, because it's related what we're talking about right now, because I agree, Mr. Chairman, it would be inappropriate for us to go very far down the road to talk about the intersection of policy that I know the team has been working so hard on. But there have been instances somewhat recently in which the council has received information from leadership within law enforcement expressing some clarity that's needed because we're working on this plane while flying it in terms of how calls are referred, who goes, when is an officer involved, when was an officer not involved, and we've just recently onboarded just one of these units, but we're still working out the policies that need to be in place. So I want to put a pin on that as well, but come back to it rather quickly because we know how hard everyone's been working, but in real time, we're experiencing a lot of issues. And so to the degree to which we can also be helpful in giving you all the support that you need, we shouldn't be asking for grants to get training. Those are things that we should be funding in-house. Obviously, we always need to look for third-party funding sources wherever possible, but for something this important, I'd like to at least be given the chance as the body responsible for overseeing the county's budget to weigh in or decide. And maybe we did get this and turned it down for some reason, but I would like to revisit that as well and see what other training we may be able to help fund because we know how critically important all of this is. So with that as context, I did have a couple specific questions. So Ms. Only, I know we're having recruitment and retention issues across all public safety sectors. And so it's not a surprise that we have the 43 vacancies within this unit. Can you talk a little bit about or expand on the strategies that you all are using both for recruitment and retention? I think having a social worker is a great example of retention and strategies around that, but and just be candid, any concerns you have or what you're seeing or what your team's feeling so that we can have that as background and context, because 43 is a big number but not unusual given the circumstances that we're in, and a lot of other jurisdictions are facing similar issues.
Right. So just for clarification, we currently have 22. I want 43 additional positions.
Got it.
So that would increase the vacancies. But what we are doing, we are working with the state, and Senator Kagan has been very an advocate for us and very on top of this issue as well, because like you said, all the other jurisdictions within Maryland, let alone across the country, are experiencing the same thing. What we have done is we have changed our requirement for experience. So 1 year experience as opposed to 2. So for the 911 specialist, folks can apply if they're 18 years old, have a high school diploma, and have that experience. And that's where we are looking at tapping into the high schools to see if any of those individuals are interested in applying, and hopefully then they can join us. And then, as you know, yes, you already said, the law enforcement and the fire rescue side, I believe as well, are experiencing some staffing issues as well. And that's where we're all competing for the same thing. And we have worked with Montgomery College. We're looking at hopefully doing another session within the next year and seeing how we're going to approach that. But one of the challenges I believe that we specifically, Montgomery County, are dealing with and trying to overcome, and not to change the standards, is the background, which also incorporates the psychological and the medical component. And as we continue, because we already know there's mental health calls that we're dealing with, but some of the things that these folks, they're applying for the job, they may be experiencing some of the things. So I think that's some of the stop gaps, I guess, that we are experiencing right now. They're not making it through that process because we need to make sure that our individuals that we hire are stable and able to process the information that they need to process to make sure that we're sending the best resource for help. So that's one of the challenges that we're dealing with. And then for the other public safety entities, their stopgaps or some other places. So we're trying to overcome that, but I think that's one thing that public safety in general is going to be dealing with over the next 5 to 10 years.
I appreciate that. That's actually a good segue into the next question. So I totally get that we need to have some reasonable and practical standard before we launch with text messaging and video. You know, that creates all sorts of policy issues and challenges. And, you know, going back to the mental health of our 911 operators, that's a big one too. I mean, if you're visibly seeing some of it's bad enough to be on the phone as these crises are unraveling, but to actually be able to see it in real time is a whole other issue. But the standards, are we looking for standards from the federal government, from the state? Who would be the most responsible for establishing guidelines so that we can be able to take advantage of this technology?
Typically, we look at what the NENA, the National Emergency Association, what standards they put in place for the area PSAPs or the industry PSAPs. So we do look at those. So the mental health component is important for our specialists as well as those calling in, because it deals with some of the technology things as well. So I'll say firewalls, and I'll just leave it very general like that. How is it going to come into the center? Is it going to be attached to the call? And how is it going to get to the responder? So it does have some benefits. We see some benefits that having that information could provide. But overall, I think the standards in which how much are we going to allow and where are we going to allow it? So I think that's part of it, because we don't need something with every call. Our text messaging, even though we are live with text to 911, we've been live for over a year. We are seeing more usage of it than other PSAPs, which is good because folks feel comfortable using that technology. But at what point is that information then going to start to overload the systems? And I know the storage and stuff like that will be a conversation, and I'm not necessarily concerned about how we're going to do that. It's just getting it from point A to B to C, and then finally D would be the storage component. So it's several things we got to look at, and we are starting those conversations with like I said, the state PSAPs, other 911 centers, and seeing what we can do and when we can do it. So.
Thank you. You mentioned Senator Kagan, who has been such a tremendous leader on this issue. And I know all of us have publicly acknowledged that, the three members of this committee and the entire council, for several years now, but it's bears worth repeating, thanking her for that leadership. Related to that, you know, this is not an isolated issue to Montgomery County. Is there a coalition that has been formed that is looking at this? Is there a group, or in addition to this national association that you referred to, is there a local association that is looking at this and that might be able to help with some guidance?
Yes, there is. And we had a state meeting actually last week, and that particular association is looking into being the front runner or the person or the group to gather all that information. So we are working with them in partnership to be able to get something out to all the, like I said, all the Maryland 911 centers.
That's helpful, because I guess, you know, from 30,000 feet, especially during the pandemic, the intersection between our federal, state, and local governments has been highlighted on a lot of different levels. And while I have a great deal of respect for our federal partners, I don't think we can wait, you know, for them to be able to act and us not to be able to move forward. And this county has never been bashful about being a leader in so many different areas. And so I would just say if there is support that's necessary, if there's additional training, if there's additional legal guidance, whatever some of those very reasonable barriers are that we have to think through so we don't create more problems than we're trying to solve by enacting and taking advantage of this technology, you know, I would just, I'm sure, you know, and I know you feel this way, try to be aggressive here and be bullish and see what we can do, because we've set the table. And I think there's a real opportunity for us to take full advantage of every tool that we have at our disposal, which literally does save lives, as we know. I guess the last couple of questions are, and we've discussed this before in previous briefings, but cultural competency, remains a critical component to this work. And related to that, I have received some feedback from first responders who are on the ground and some 911 call takers, on visits I've taken over some time now. It's been a couple of years, but the scripts that we use when a call comes in, each call is totally unique, totally dynamic, has lots of complexity to it, a lot of layers. But I have received some feedback that the scripts that we have that we give the call takers, which are necessary, don't often and sometimes feel awkward and are not aligned in real time to some of the issues as we see them, as have arisen since the pandemic. Can you talk a little bit about those scripts? And I know we're talking about next generation 911 technology here, but they're kind of connected, because that call that comes in, as we know, is so important, and we do a phenomenal job with training and support. But could you talk a little bit about those scripts and what your response is to that?
Sure, thank you. So yes, all the Maryland 911 centers are required to use a standard-based protocol system. So we use the International Academy of Emergency Dispatch we have for medical, police, and fire, and they are phenomenal. So think of it as if you go to a drive-through, they ask you the same question, regardless of if it's that same chain, it doesn't matter where you go, they ask that same question. That's the purpose behind a standards-based protocol. So the same questions are asked, the same manner. And yes, it does open the door for you have to be able to ask clarifying questions depending on what the situation is. And that's where that training comes into play, that our folks have to be able to listen, hear, and respond. And it's very important that our specialists are listening to that caller and paying attention to what's going on in the background, because some information may be gleaned from that. But asking those essential questions in the same format is so important, so we don't deviate from what we need to get, and also so we do get that information that we do need. So so my time pre-protocols, that's where we had a thick book that we had to memorize all the questions. That was pre-protocol. And that's where some of the staffing, the retention and attrition rates were as a result of that, because folks couldn't memorize it. Right now, it's in front of them on a screen for which they ask those questions. So it is important. However, once again, it's the training component where staff needs to be able to recognize, all right, I need to ask those follow-up clarifying questions. It is so important that we are consistent in capturing the information that we need to gather for the public responders.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I guess the feedback I've gotten is that, say you're responding to a domestic violence case involving a gun, and you're trying to glean information from the caller that's come in sort of in real time. And so just, I totally get and appreciate needing to be consistent all the way through. And there may be some additional information that is necessary for sort of the back end to take care of the reporting that's required. But I guess it sounds like this is not something that we control. This is, a program that's part of a state mandated, has made improvements. But I guess now's not the time and place, but I would like to follow up on this and ask some additional questions, because there also have been some concerns raised about the cultural competency of the questions that are asked. And so, which is relevant, given the diversity of our wonderful community. So I'll follow up with some questions on that, but I just wanted to bring that up for now. So I will yield back to you, Mr. President. I think that's it for now. I may come back with some additional questions in the end.
And I appreciate it. So Mr. Hucker is actually.
That's right. Sorry, Mr. Chair.
And I mean, he got very concerned when you said,
That's right.
President Hucker, he's not, are you frozen? Okay. President.
I hope I'm not frozen. Yeah, no, I'm, nothing
comment
off more than that. Yeah, I get very hung up on titles, as you know, Mr. Chairman.
I knew that. I knew that's what you are. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks. A lot of my questions have been answered. Thanks everybody for all your hard work on this. Ms. Only, thanks, for pushing this ahead, especially in particular. I know you had big shoes to fill and a big charge in front of you, and this is great to hear about the progress. Many of my questions were answered, but I have a few follow-up ones. I'm really glad to hear about the work group on the integrated crisis call center. And my notes, I think you mentioned ECC and the suicide hotline and EveryMind. Are the police involved in that? And if not, why not?
So yes, they are.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they're also, I was remiss in not mentioning them, but yes, I think we have the CIT members and maybe some others also.
And fire and rescue, presumably?
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I asked about the police because when I had met with my new commander, he was surprised that he was glad that there were more mobile crisis units available. He knows how to call the crisis center, and they have many times. He doesn't know what happened after that, what the protocols are, who gets dispatched, why, what happens inside HHS. And he said he never had to sit down with HHS to clarify for him what goes on. So somebody at the police department, I guess, knows, but it might be above his grade level or something, or more specialized. But it seems like getting that to commanders in each district would matter a lot, and then having them pass that information down.
Yes, and I meet with the commanders, and we actually have a meeting in 2 weeks with all the commanders in the different districts to talk about those exact questions.
This, thank you, Dorne. This started out as a priority for the council, and I think sponsored by everybody on this committee. Were any staff from the council included in the work group so we can track the progress too?
There may be. I have to check. We have 3 work groups working on the crisis now model, and in several of them, at least in a couple of them, we have council. I'll have to check to see if we have council representation there.
If you don't, yeah, I'd suggest that you should, and it would be good. So I know I have lots of questions about the implementation, and my colleagues, and I continue to get questions from the public. I spoke to my own neighborhood association this weekend, and they had lots of questions about how it works, and some I couldn't answer even as the sponsor of the supplemental. So I'd like to be able to. This is definitely an issue that is on the minds of many in the community, and we have to be prepared to know what's happening with the money we allocated. I'm glad the shared public safety HHS session, Mr. Chairman, is getting scheduled so we can talk about triaging the behavioral health calls. I wanted to just follow up on the work session we had about the tragedy in Perdido Bay. That exposed a lot of.
You went in and out on mine. I'm having internet problems too, but I couldn't hear what you said about the follow-up work session.
Maybe this will be better. I was interested in, we had a good work session about the tragedy at Perdido Bay and the flaws and shortcomings that exposed. Are there any lessons now from that being incorporated into your new policies?
So Chief Ratcliffe, do you want to talk about the rivers?
Yeah, so to answer your question, there were several recommendations that came out of the report that was specifically dealt with Montgomery County, and we have implemented all of those recommendations. We did so last year. And so I think the second part of that is with the EZNet and the routing of the 911 calls, the 911 caller who has a cell phone in either in the river or in Montgomery County, that's going to go to the Montgomery County PSAP. So I think those are it's a good step forward.
Thank you. That's good to hear. And would Loudoun County say they're happy with our response and all the reforms?
Yes, and they had many more reforms that they're working on. And,
right.
I know one of the big things they were looking at is putting uniformed firefighters in their PSAP, similar to the way we have. And you know, they came here and visited, and we had conversations with them how to implement that. And so they are moving forward with all their stuff. They had a lot more than we had, but I think they're making progress as well. Great,
thanks. I'm really glad to hear the social workers in place and being utilized. Do you know how many employees, numbers and percentage-wise, have taken advantage of that position?
It's been at least 45 total. So some it's required because of the incident in which they process, where we make that required. And then some it's just voluntary. They go ahead and self-report to her.
That's great. 45 out of what total again?
Right now we have 163. Our staff is 163.
Pretty high percentage. That's great. Okay. How are the sessions with the social worker covered? Are they covered by leave or PTO policies?
Admin leave, yes.
Okay. Are there any concerns? I remember talking about this before we had the position in place. Are there concerns still about employee confidentiality? And can employees who need help also go to an outside counselor?
Yes. So confidentiality has not, I know it was a concern initially. However, we have been very vocal that no confidentiality breach will occur. In addition to her services, they could actually go see the county stress management, as well as the department's peer support, as well as the employee assistance program, and or any of their private therapists that they may have, or you know, their health benefits may cover. So there is plenty of services that are available to employees, and we provide that reminder to them. In addition to the telehealth. So that's where our social worker also provides telehealth. If they don't want to come in person to see her, they could do it via telehealth. So they can have that confidentiality as well.
Great. You may have said this, but do you know how many students are enrolled in the Montgomery College certification course?
No, we don't know that yet. We just had a meeting with them, I think it was about 3 weeks ago, in reference to that. So at this time, no, I'm not sure what the number is.
And finally, I'm glad to hear about the growth of the text to 911 service. We've been talking about that for years. That's great that it's in place and growing. What is being done to inform the community about it? Because most people I talk to aren't aware that it's a service, particularly probably young people that would use it the most.
Right, and that's where when we went live with it, or after we went live, that's where the PIO offices were informed, and it did go out on social media that we are text to 911. So all Maryland jurisdictions are text to 911 capable. So we're going to look at another education piece that I've been talking to our staff about, that we need to roll out, just as it's a nice reminder and a nice time to do it.
Do you know if it's on our cable channels? And
I know it was
buses?
Buses. No, I don't believe it was on the buses, but I believe it was on the cable channel.
And do you know how many languages it's available in?
No, just text to 911 is only English.
It's only English.
Oh, I'm sorry. That we put out, it was also put out in Spanish.
Okay, but people can only text in English. Is that correct?
for now. We
Okay.
are looking at another solution that we're able to translate into other languages.
Are there data about the demographics of who's already using it? Age and ethnicity and race?
No.
Okay. Okay. That's all I got. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and good questions as always. Is there a possibility that we could send out an alert to our listserv that would explain that we now take text? I don't know whether, I know that there's certain things that they do and don't want to do on these alerts, but if someone needs to text rather than to call in, which is one of the reasons that we did this, that we might save a life here if we did something like that. So that's something please to look into. Anything else, Ms. Frog?
Nope, that's it for us.
Thank you. My internet service was going in and out, and I took the council president's lead and decided I was going to cut off my video, and I think it did and didn't help. So anyhow, we appreciate everyone, as we said earlier, everything you are doing. We know that this is it's never been an easy job ever, but it certainly has gotten even more difficult, and technology has helped in some ways, and technology has caused some other concerns in other ways. So that's something that we continue to deal with, but we are most appreciative, and candidly, you all save lives every day. So we sincerely appreciate that. Ms. Farag, thank you very much. We are going to be adjourned. Thank you.